When I first came to Notion a year ago, there were certain aspects of the platform which I just found a little bit clunky, just could have been designed better. Over the last year, Notion has been working super hard to improve so many aspects of this that now I think I'm finding that it's more and more they're working on that user interface. The way that I can view the information on my screen is exactly the way I want to. And the one key thing I want to talk to you about today is the new grouping feature and how that helps me to be able to visualize the lessons I'm teaching per class, per week, in separate chunks, but still within the same database. So welcome to Notion for Teachers. I'm Andrew. It's my mission to support you in building and maintaining your system in Notion so you can spend more time on planning quality lessons and also finding some time for yourself. So let's now jump into Notion and I will then show you how this grouping feature can work for you so that your system is just that bit easier to read and a bit easier to see what's on the screen. Okay, so here we are in my lesson planning dashboard. Now this is just one of the many tables or slash databases in my Notion system. The grouping feature works with any of our dashboards. If you've not seen my video on the lesson planning dashboard, thoroughly recommend you go off, have a quick look at that, maybe either now or after you've watched this video. I'll link to it in the top corner of the screen. But here we are in the lesson planning dashboard. So if you remember having watched that video, this table includes every single period in the school year, okay? So it's hundreds of lessons per group. And we can load all those lessons up there. Hundreds of lessons across hundreds of weeks. Or not hundreds of weeks, but tens of weeks throughout the school year. And the database includes all this useful information on each of my lessons. I'm going to be setting homeworks, how I'm tracking late students, whether I've marked the homework, whether I've taken the register, all sorts of things linked in this particular database. But really, if I'm coming in here and I'm sitting down weekly to do my lesson planning, I want to see how the lessons over the next week are going to fit into the bigger picture of the school year. I could leave the table like this, okay? And what I find is that each lesson in the table gets a little bit lost, okay? But this new grouping feature from Notion really is superb. I just come up here and click on the three dots in the top corner, and we could do this in absolutely any database we're using, okay? Come up here, click on group, and I'm going to tell it to group by. Now, one of the properties in this particular database is week number, okay? And I'm going to tell Notion to group my table by week number. Okay, now the default is that it'll give groups in the range 0 to 1000, so i.e. week number 1000. Well, obviously there's not 1000 weeks in the school year, there's going to be 30 something. But I'll leave it as that, that's fine, it doesn't matter. But what I wanted to do is to group it, I don't want to group it by every 100 weeks, because if you see on the left hand side of my screen here, that would group this particular table by groups. The first group would be weeks 0 to 100. Well, that would actually be the full school year, so that's not much use. Actually, what I wanted to do in this case, I want to group it by every 1 week in the school year. So that's what I've set there. And that I've struggled to find where I could do that for a while. So it's worth noting that when we come into group by, we go down to this property we want to group it by, and then we click on that, and it gives us the option to group it by every 1 week. Okay, which is how I would prefer to show this. And then when we come back into our table, we can see that Notion has grouped this by all the lessons for a particular week. Okay, and I'll tell it to show me more of those weeks, which is great. So for the current week, which is currently the 21st of Jan, so the lessons that I've taught this week were Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday for this particular class, okay? I had this table was already filtered before I applied the grouping feature. I'd already filtered this table just for class 3C. And there I can see, right, there's the 4 lessons that I've taught this week. We're teaching straight line graphs. We've looked at the different subtopics within straight line graphs. Next week we're going into a test, and then I need to go on and plan the lessons for after the test. from next week. But isn't that such an easier, more approachable view, easier to use compared to just having one block of all my lessons? If I can display them by week, isn't that much more useful? And another nice feature of this is that, yes, I've filtered it by for 3C's lessons. But also, if I add that filter and I come in here and say, right, I don't want to know what I was teaching a month ago. I might be interested in what I was teaching a week ago. So what I'll do is I'll come in here and say, right, full date is on or after 1 week ago. Okay, so that's full date is on or after 1 week ago. And then it no longer shows any of those lessons. Those little tables are now empty because it's filtered those out because they were before 1 week ago. And what I can then come back into my grouping feature bit, and I can tell it to hide the empty groups. Okay, so because those lessons from over a week ago were filtered out, they're no longer in the groups. And I can tell to hide those groups. So now I'm only seeing everything from a week ago because I might want to know what I was teaching over the last couple of lessons in order to be able to plan today and future lessons. But I probably don't want to know any further back than a week ago. So, and there we have it. Nice, easy. Come in here. I can see for class 3C, I can see everything I was teaching in week blocks from a week ago right into the future, and I can plan the rest of the year that way. So useful, such a useful feature. Thank you very much, Notion, for this grouping feature. And that's me for 3C. I can come in, do the same for 4C very easily. I'll come in here, add the filter, add filter. Full date is on or after. Is on or after 1 week ago. Okay, so that's the filter applied. So I'm only seeing lessons from a week ago. And I'll add the group by week number. Down here, apply it so it's every 1 week. Back into the table. There we have it. Okay, oh, I've not told it to hide empty groups. Do that now. Group, hide empty groups. Magic. All right, show me all the lessons. Today is Friday. 1 week ago I was teaching this lesson, so that's why it's showing that one lesson from a week ago. But everything else is sorted into groups of the actual lessons by week. So that is the grouping feature as applied to my lesson planning dashboard. Super useful. Thank you very much, Notion. Okay, so that's a quick run through of the grouping feature in Notion. I hope that's been super useful. If it has, please hit subscribe and the bell icon, and you'll catch all my future videos when I'm going to try and post every single week, so that give you something every single week to help improve your system. Thanks a lot for watching, and see you again soon.